Hey everybody, PortlyPaladin back here again with another update. I'm in a different place today. It's in my kitchen right here. I'm in here because I am currently making a pot of French onion soup for dinner tonight, and it kind of needs a little bit of babysitting, so I can't go away from it too far, else I'd be at the other end of the house recording this in my normal place. But I can't because of the soup, so that's why I'm here today. You get to kind of get a look at my kitchen behind me here. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I did weigh in this morning with my new scale. It works great, by the way. It's nice and wide. It's got a little bit wider base on it, so it's a little more comfortable for me to stand on. It's nice and, I guess, sensitive. So, but not too sensitive, I guess is the way I guess I can put it. Like my old scale, when I would stand on it, like if I'd have to stand perfectly still, and then even then it was like very difficult for me to get a good weight for myself because it would kind of fluctuate, so I would always kind of take an average guess. Whereas this one, it kind of locks right in after a second or two, and you get like a good solid weight. I didn't tell anybody this last week because I was a bit embarrassed by it, but I weighed in last week on the new scale before I did my video. And I actually weighed in at 495, and I was pretty disappointed in myself that I had gained so much weight. But as I mentioned in my video, I had been retaining a lot of water, and my wife had mentioned even that she noticed I had been retaining water. My legs were a lot bigger than normal. They even had like that shiny look to them because they were so swollen with all the water I was retaining. Well, I did a really good job last week of taking my medication, made sure I took that every day without fail, and I drank a lot of water last week to make sure to flush my system as best as I could. And I have good news today. I weighed in this morning at 480, 15 pounds in 1 week, and almost all of that has to be water. I mean, no doubt, 15 pounds of water. So that just goes to show you that drinking water when you're a bigger person is really key. It's very, very important. I know that early on, when I first started trying to lose some weight, I really didn't care about water too much, didn't pay attention to it. I thought, you know, whatever, as long as it's not soda, I guess I shouldn't really need to worry about it, right? But obviously I was wrong in that. Obviously, because, I mean, this is a perfect example. 1 week to drop 15 pounds purely in retained water weight is pretty remarkable if you ask me. I mean, that's craziness. So, you know, that's something I guess everybody out there really should think about. I mean, I don't drink a whole lot of anything, really. I drink iced tea, water, the occasional hot tea. If I really need a boost in the morning, I'll drink a cup of hot tea. I do sometimes have orange juice for breakfast, and occasionally I have some lemonade. And every once in a while, and this is pretty rare, I'll grab a thing of Gatorade. I try to stay away from the Gatorade because of the sugar content. You know, it's pretty high in sugar. It's not quite as high as soda, and it's obviously better for you than soda, but still not great. So occasionally I'll grab a Gatorade if I'm really... I do that a lot, not a lot, but I do that at work more than anywhere. When I'm really looking for something besides water while I'm at work, you know, I just really want something that's not water, and to keep from grabbing a soda because that's really all we have available to us at work. I will grab a Gatorade out of the vending machine. So there is that. Now they do have like some cran grape stuff and some orange juice in the vending machine, but it just seems to me like that stuff's full of sugar. I mean, I might be wrong, but it just feels like it to me. I mean, more so even than the Gatorade. So I usually end up going for the Gatorade if I want something that's not water. But I do end up drinking mostly water at work. I do have a container that holds about 32 ounces. I fill that up with iced tea in the morning before I leave for work, and I drink that. And I usually will drink at least one more of those at work of water. Lately, this past week, for example, you know, I did definitely more than that. Almost every day I had one of iced tea, one of water, and then usually almost a whole second one of water. So that's, quick math, 96 ounces, and you're supposed to have 64 a day. So, you know, or you know, at least 8-ounce glasses of water. Now, I read things that kind of contradict themselves here and there. In some places I've said, or I've read, it has to be water. In other places I've read, it's just anything that's not, loaded with sugar. Um, tea, coffee, things like that, those count. I don't know if my tea counts or not. I do sweeten it, but I don't put a ton of sugar in it. It's actually pretty low in sugar if you really compare it to a lot of other iced tea that's out there, sweetened iced tea. So I don't really generally count my iced tea as water, not the whole way anyway. I've also read places where it says that if it's caffeinated, you shouldn't count it as water because caffeine can be dehydrating. But I've also heard from other people that that's not true. So who really knows? I'm not a nutritionist, and so I can't really say, but I just go with what works for me, and right now that's working for me. I used to hate it when people would say this when I was looking at ways to lose weight, when people would tell you that you really need to drink more water, and you used to hate when people would say you really shouldn't be drinking soda of any kind. And I've stayed away from saying that this whole time I've been doing these videos, but I really think I should probably be saying that now. It's true. There are days, I feel like an addict these days, actually, with soda. When I'm seeing other people drinking soda around me, I feel like it's almost like this forbidden thing that I am not allowed to touch, but other people can have, and it really sometimes really gets to me. Most of the time, I just actually kind of almost get annoyed with other people for drinking soda around me. Not that I expect them not to, but in a way, I don't know, it's just like some sort of weird thing in my head that makes me think that they shouldn't if I can't. And then there's also part of me that wishes I could just have one. But in the back of my head, I think if I have one, then that's going to start the slide. I'll have one now, and then I'll say, well, I had one, so next week I can have one. It didn't really bother me this week. And then that one will go to 2, and it'll just start escalating back up, and I'll get back to where I was before. At one point in my life, I was literally drinking almost 3 full 2 liters of Mountain Dew every day. That disturbs me now. Back then I didn't think it was a big deal. It's just, to me, it was just having a drink. It was just a beverage. It wasn't something horrible. It was just a beverage. Now I realize that that is absolutely horrendous. I mean, if you stop and if you look at some of these statistics, the amount of sugar and caffeine that's in one can, which is 12 ounces of Mountain Dew, it's something like 7 tablespoons or 8 tablespoons of sugar or something. I can't remember the stats, but it's a lot of sugar in one can. A 12 or a 2-liter bottle, because a can is 12 ounces. A 2-liter bottle, I believe, is somewhere around 80 something ounces, if I'm not mistaken. I could Google that probably if I really wanted to find out, but I'm not really sure how many ounces it actually is. Actually, let's go ahead and check here. Ounces in a gallon. Or sorry, ounces in a liter is what I should have put in there. There we go. In 1 liter, there are 33 ounces, so 66 ounces. So the amount of water you're supposed to drink every day is what I was drinking in 1 2-liter of Mountain Dew, but I was drinking 3 of those. So, yeah, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. Yeah, it really is. It really is. See, I'm looking right now online as well. I probably should have done this research before this, but let's see. So a 2-liter bottle is roughly, that doesn't make any sense, 5 cans of soda? There's more Mountain Dew than that. Anyway, but yeah, it says here that there are 31 grams of sugar in 8 ounces. So if there are 66 ounces in a 2-liter, that means that there are 240 grams of sugar in 1 2-liter. Or, roughly, let's see, a quarter of a cup per can. That's what it says here, 1/4 cup of sugar per can. So that's for every 12 ounces. That means there are 1.5 cups or more of sugar per 2 liter. And I was drinking 3 of those a day. So yeah, I was drinking the equivalent of 4.5 cups of sugar. I was eating basically 4.5 cups of sugar a day. That's crazy. I mean, that boggles my mind that's even something that I could do. I mean, at this point, I would say that with the tea that I drink, the iced tea that I make a full gallon of iced tea, and it takes 3/4 of a cup of sugar, I think is what I use at this point. And I don't even drink the entire gallon in one day. I drink, like I said, I take one 32-ounce glass container to work, and I might have a glass or two at home. So roughly 45, 50 ounces. That's not a full gallon. So maybe half of a gallon actually. So I'm looking at, I don't know what's half of 3/4, but less than half of a cup of sugar when I was drinking 4.5 before. That's 4 cups worth of sugar less that I'm consuming now. Plus there was also the horrible food that I was eating back then. Eating out of vending machines. I was eating cupcakes and Little Debbie cakes and things like that pretty much all day long, candy bars and stuff. So I would have to assume that I was probably consuming anywhere between 6 and 8 cups of sugar every day at one point in my life. Whereas now, I maybe take in half of a cup of sugar. I'll even splurge and say 3/4 of a cup. So it's a huge difference. And even that, if I think about it now, even the thought of even consuming 3/4 of a cup of sugar throughout my entire day disturbs me a little bit. But looking at the difference, it doesn't bother me nearly as much as thinking about what I used to do. It does give me some resolve to kind of maybe change that and maybe cut down the sugar that's in my iced tea. Maybe eat fewer sugary foods or sweet foods. Although I don't really eat sweet stuff as nearly as much as I used to. Used to have ice cream often, used to have cakes often. I would make brownies and cakes and things quite often, desserts all the time. I don't do that anymore. Yeah, so I definitely consume way less sugar than I used to. That's something I think that everybody should really look at and look to. I mean, there's a lot of ways to cut sugar. Perfect example, actually, something is sitting right here next to me. My local grocery store chain, who's kind of a national chain now, Kroger, they make this reduced sugar strawberry preserves. It's something that my wife just sort of picked it up on a whim one time when she was at the store. And it says here it contains 60% less sugar than regular strawberry preserves. And if you do compare this to Smucker's or some other national brand, it definitely does have a lot less sugar than those. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is way better. It tastes way better. It's an off-brand. I mean, it's the store brand. But because it doesn't have as much sugar, it actually tastes like strawberries. It doesn't taste like sugar. So, consider doing something like that. Going out and buying something reduced sugar. Cut your sugar intake wherever you can. There's a lot of people that are getting diabetic left and right, and there's so many complications that I've learned with people that I've come to know here and there with diabetes. So don't do it, because it's just not a good thing. So I guess that's pretty much where I'm going to leave this video. I've got to get back to stirring my onions for this onion soup, because I can already start smelling them caramelizing a bit. So I'm going to go now. Until next time, keep waging a war against your waistline. I am your Portly Paladin. Have a good one.